Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chatters. We're back with another story of the week, or should I say the same story of the week, because we have an update.
Ooh, Miss Andon, tell me about this.
Yep, we have
What
an
are we
update.
updating?
This last story we did.
Really?
Yep.
The
She did a
the
whole
kissing
update.
friend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So
I got my tea, my literal tea.
So it's titled Update to My 28 Female Best Friend, 28 Female Kissed My Husband, and Now It's Destroying Me. How do I proceed? So it's a little bit of a longish update, but we're here for it. After reading a lot of comments, I realized that it was possible that my husband was having an affair with my best friend, and he knew about the camera and acted accordingly to make sure I didn't suspect an affair.
I'm scared.
Her running out of the house crying, my husband showing me the footage before I asked, and his love bombing would all make sense if he was cheating with my best friend. I can't be with a cheater, and I had to make sure my husband was loyal to me. On a side note, I made sure that my husband was okay and well after being forcibly kissed, and he said he was fine. I didn't feel assaulted, and it was just a kiss. He said that he was just worried about me because he knew how much this friendship meant to me. Over the weekend, I looked through my husband's phone and laptop while he was doing yard work. Both of us have full access to each other's phones, and I didn't find anything out of the ordinary in my husband's phone. I checked his messages, his WhatsApp, social media, and deleted messages folder. There was nothing suspicious on his phone or laptop. This morning, after my husband left to go to work, I arranged for our next door neighbors, a friendly elderly couple, to watch the girls for a couple hours, and I went straight to my best friend's place without telling her I was coming. She works afternoon shifts, so I knew she would be there in the morning. She let me in and she seemed scared, and I demanded to know the truth. She said that she had always been really attracted to my husband and she had tried to make advances before, but my husband has always shut her down. She admitted to being jealous of me and my perfect life with my husband. I should have seen the signs earlier. When our firstborn was learning to speak, my best friend would always try to get her to call her mama. Then, when she held our daughter for the first time, she accidentally sat in my husband's lap. She has been trying to replace me for years, and I just never noticed. And my husband kept rejecting her advances because he only wanted me. She said that she had drank more than she should have at the barbecue, and she decided to try her luck when she saw my husband was going inside alone. I forced her to show me her phone as well, and again, there was nothing implying an affair, and all of the messages appeared to line up with my husband's phone, so I knew there was nothing deleted or manipulated. She apologized profusely and asked me to not end our friendship over this. I told her that she's nothing to me and that she should have been happy for me. And I treated her like a sister all these years just for her to try and steal my life. Now I know that my husband never cheated. The guilt for doubting him is eating me up. If I tell him that I snooped through his phone and laptop and met up with my ex best friend to verify that he wasn't cheating, it's going to impact our marriage. And he'll be very disappointed in me for not trusting him, if anything. He will lose his trust in me. If I don't tell him, the guilt is going to continue eating me up. I've never lied or kept secrets from him before, and I don't want to start now, but this is an impossible choice. He's only ever shown me how much he loves and cherishes me, and he doesn't deserve to be betrayed like this. I will update more when I tell him the truth.
So she's gonna tell him.
She has to. I think it's just going to eat her up inside if she doesn't. I mean, obviously, she's really struggling with not telling him. And since he was honest about what happened and came to her, I don't see why she couldn't do the same. I think her telling him what she did, that doesn't lose complete trust because I went up and told him what you did. So,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
He could definitely respond a couple different ways, but it seems like, from what I've heard thus far, he seems like a pretty rational guy. And if she explains it even half the way she explains it now, if you have a feeling, you just have to know. What's better, sitting around and wondering or trying to gather all the evidence that you can? She was obviously going to confront him if she found something nefarious in the phone. It's not like she was just going to hold on to it and wait. Yeah, I think she's doing this as honestly as she can. But when you're trying to catch somebody doing something sneaky, you can't tell them, I'm trying to catch you being sneaky. Like, you have to catch them first. So, yeah, she did something that maybe he could be upset about. But I think if he understands where she was coming from, which I am assuming he will, then it will be okay. And I think I've put it all to bed now too. I'm very glad that she asked the friend to look at her phone too, because people can be good at deleting things, especially if it's gone on for a while. It had to have been a sneaky type of situation. So
I've seen people
I
even use notes apps to
yeah.
text people. Like, people do
They'll
some
share
weird
notes, yeah.
shit. And there's so many options. What was it? Chris Watts had the calculator app that had a bunch of stuff on it that was, I don't know if Chris Watts is a good example, but like, I'm just saying, like, there's ways to hide stuff on your phone.
There
So
is. Well, and the thing is too, piggybacking off of what we were talking about initially with her questioning her friends and things like that, people who want to cheat are going to cheat, whether or not you isolate them, love them, do everything for them, don't do anything for them. It doesn't matter what you do. If they want to cheat, they're going to cheat. I think she needed to just figure this out for herself. And now that I think they can really move past this. She knows everything she needs to know. I think she's made the right decision about what to do with the friend, even though that is a bummer. She didn't ask for this, so that's just the way it's got to be. And hopefully the husband will understand why she looked through everything and they can just move on as best they can. Wow, so it was just like the other commenter said before, the other person who's been through basically the same exact situation. Wow, so watch out, people. I didn't know there were people out here trying to. Isn't there like a commandment about that, like to covet your neighbor's wife and
that's
possessions?
just your neighbor, not even your friend.
I'm not even religious, but I just
No, that's the
feel like
thing.
that's one of those.
It's a commandment. I don't know. It's a weird world out here, to be honest.
I feel like that's the best outcome that could have happened. I was really nervous when this started off. I thought that she was gonna come back and be like, "Yeah, this whole thing has been going on, and now I need to get a divorce and don't have my friends and blah blah blah." And that would have been really sad. But
This is the best outcome, honestly. If this girl's been trying to replace you for all these years, call on, have any kids, call her mom. That would have been a huge red
that
flag.
is weird.
That's weird as hell. That's strange. Mom, why? Why?
Yeah. How do you accidentally sit in a whole man's lap too? What you
I
thought he
felt
was
that
in
was
the chair?
that comment you made. Like, oh, fell into your.
You slipped and fell into your husband. She really already did that before.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not a fan, but somebody commented and said, "Don't tell him that you doubted him. Just tell him that you went to her house and confronted her about what the F she was thinking and got the whole story. She's psycho. Some single white female shit. You should take care of your safety." And OP that was not a white girl that said that. That's for sure. I did.
Single white female is a movie though.
Oh, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
So OP said, "I did very much doubt him, though. I hate lies and lying, even by omission to him. This just feels disgusting." You're gonna tell him. I don't even see why not tell him. I don't even think he's gonna be that mad. If he's really as amazing as you're painting him to be, I think he'll be understanding if you tell him, other compared to if you don't tell him and then he finds out later that he went through all this stuff. If it comes out later.
And I also think he may already know. If someone went through my laptop,
You might have left the browser up. Like, you don't
that's
know.
like I keep stuff open. I generally know where I close things at the end of the day. Maybe not everybody is the same as me, but I just feel like he could already have an inkling that you're sniffing around. And so you should just be honest about it. Again, I could see a world where she just leaves that to herself and moves on. I wouldn't blame her for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if she's feeling guilt about it, I don't think she needs to feel guilt about it, to be honest. The husband didn't necessarily do anything directly to be snooped into or to have his privacy violated, and that is not okay to violate your partner's privacy. But she did also say that they have open policy. So there's some bad intention there because the husband wasn't around when she looked. But I don't think she really did anything wrong in my opinion by going to look. She had something she had to figure out, really honestly, to save her marriage. Whether she found something or didn't find something, her marriage was at a crossroads and she needed to see whatever she saw without him intervening. So
Right.
you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, and it's not always pretty. I don't think she did anything wrong or she should feel guilt, but if she does because she did violate his privacy, then she should tell him. So I think she's just doing the right thing. I applaud this woman. She was just trying to have a barbecue with her friends, and now she's got all this stuff going on.
Right. And I know we should believe our partner, to trust your partner and everything, but you're also talking about a 10-year friendship here. So
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm to try to make sure that these things line up. And you should never just take things like that for their word. You never know because you don't
Yeah.
know. He could be screwing you over, and that's good to look. It's good to look in a situation where you already have full access. He's already given you this full access. You should be able to go in and look anyways if you truly wanted
Yeah,
to.
you
But
didn't break in, you know his passcode. You just looked, you know.
yeah,
And I'm not trying to normalize that. She violated his privacy, but I don't think it was a terrible thing in that moment for her to do.
yeah, just because he's never lied to you before doesn't mean that he couldn't lie to you today. It's good to validate these things. And I'm glad she also asked for a friend's phone because if these things line up, then that's how it is. Both people aren't deleting all these
The
things at the
same
same
messages at the same time. Yeah, it's not perfect. So,
time. Yeah. So there is an update to the update.
what?
I'm just filled with surprises.
You're full of updates, Miss Anne.
I know. It's not
So
really
she told this man, okay, what? Okay.
So it says update. I told my husband everything, that I looked through his phone and laptop, and that I confronted my best friend. I showed him both Reddit posts and told him that even the few comments that speculated he was having an affair made me paranoid, and I acted on it. I apologized to him for doubting him and thanked him for always being an amazing husband and always turning down her advances and for spoiling me, especially when I was down. He said that he understands, and he said that he should have told me earlier about her trying her luck earlier. Was there?
I wouldn't say he should have, but it would have made things more clear
No.
to her. But then again, that would be messy and there's no video evidence. And yeah.
Yeah. I'm also starting therapy next week to try to figure out my paranoia and trust issues, process the end of my friendship, and in general, try to get into a better mental space so I can be better as an individual, wife, and mother. And that's where she ends it.
I think this poor woman is really hard on herself. I think she seriously did the best that she could. I think there are people who are possibly in therapy now who may not have handled this situation as well as she did. So, I mean, sure, go to therapy. I won't tell anyone not to. I think it's a great place for any adult or child or anyone to go to have space to process their life. But I don't think she needs to process trust issues. Like
Yeah.
what happened to her was a natural response. When people cross our boundaries, when people violate us, we are supposed to feel jealous, angry, suspicious. Those are protective measures to protect your marriage. And that is what she did. She listened to those emotions appropriately. And then she got rid of them. Then she told her husband about it and she's now ready. At least it sounds to move on, unless there's deeper things that she's just not saying here. But her emotions did the right thing. She listened to them the right way. She didn't actually punch her friend. I guess she did get pretty mad for a minute. But again, anger happens when people violate our boundaries. And
Mhm.
this woman kissed your husband. You don't have issues with trust. You have issues with a woman trying to steal your life. That
Mhm.
would make anybody mad and suspicious.
Well, for me, I honestly feel like this whole situation would at least build my trust with my husband because now I
Yeah.
know he's telling me the truth. And now I know
Yeah.
if this were to happen again, I'm probably going to believe him, although I still might want a little bit of evidence, but I'm still probably going to believe him.
That's why I'm worried she's being too hard on herself because I think she does now realize, wow, my husband is great. He is a very trustworthy man.
Mhm.
So much so that he even tried to save my friendship, even though she was kind of a shitty friend, by not making all of this known and just keeping the boundaries clear. And now she's being really hard on herself because she looked at his phone and didn't just ask him. But I think she needed to do that. I think she did everything that she needed to do. And I wish she wouldn't be so hard on herself. It sounds like her husband's not even mad.
No, he seems like he's understanding, just like that other commenter guy that talked about it. I think if anything, he just feels bad that she's losing this friendship. And if anything to go over therapy over, it might be that. It might just be how to process losing that big of a friendship.
It sounds like she has a lot of suspicion around the rest of her friends now, which we talked about that last episode, and that doesn't need to happen. I don't think that's a risk that she can
No.
control, at least.
I just wonder about this friend's history with just like that other commenter said, the other friend had a history of a
Mhm.
string of bad guys and stuff like that. I'm wondering if this friend has a similar history, just like a string of bad luck. She might not have any kids. She's seeing her friend having kids in a loving marriage. Just like the other guy said, he might be a 6.5 on the Richter scale as well. So like, it might not be about looks or anything. It might just be about what she said, just trying to replace. And it's
Right.
just so strange. I feel like I've heard this type of story on like an ID Discovery where the friend killed the wife because she
Doesn't
wanted
end
to,
well.
or unalived, I should say. I'm glad we got an update though, because I was wondering. I mean, we were one of the Redditors, I guess, that were entertaining the idea of him cheating because you really can't put anything past anybody. You don't know. I think the
Mhm.
one clue that when I was like, listening to it back, I was like, it is weird that she ran out of the house like that. Because if they did have a thing, you think they would just like back to the party together like normal.
Right,
Like she'd be like, oh, okay,
right,
maybe
like
not
they've done
here.
this before, yeah.
Maybe she wouldn't have ran out crying. That makes me think that maybe he was telling the truth when I was listening to it back. Like, because why would she run out crying like that?
I took that in the moment as he felt really
Embarrassed?
rejected. If him and her had a relationship going and he just pushed her off, then she felt rejected by her whatever side piece or main piece. I don't know what he was. Or obviously nothing, no piece. But I'm glad. I think this is the best possible outcome, and it's rare that we get to actually hear a situation all the way through on our story of the week. So
Yeah,
that's
sometimes I
nice.
forget to go back and check for updates, but
Well, and sometimes we have older stories and people just don't come back and leave
mhm.
their updates, and we're not entitled to everybody's life. But it's nice to be able to hear something.
I do wonder how many times his friend has made advances because the way it was said, he didn't tell her about times she's been trying her luck. I wonder if she's tried other than just sitting in the lap and the mama thing. There's probably other examples then where
I'm
she
sure
was.
there's other things that she didn't even notice or realize because it seems like she was giving her friend a lot of the benefit of the doubt or just not paying attention to those little hints. And the husband was not being open about them. And I think there's a benefit to him not being open about them unless he has solid proof too.
The person who needs therapy in
Go
this
ahead.
whole situation is the best friend. I'm not gonna lie. She's the one that needs to go to therapy and
Yeah,
figure out why she's doing these things. And I don't know, there's something going on with her. She needs help and guidance and
I
maybe
completely agree. The original poster deserves therapy and the friend needs therapy.
yeah, that's a good way to put
Yeah.
it because there's something going on if you be walking around kissing your best friend's husbands. And it ain't gonna
Yeah.
stop with this best friend. If you're ballsy with your 10-year long friendship, wait till you're only in a 2-year long friendship.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this friend. Not a fan of friends who feel that way. It's one thing to have closeness like you and Tyler are and I wouldn't even say you guys are like close. You guys just have like fun relationship with each other. You have your own relationship. It's one thing to have your own relationship with your friend's significant others. It's another thing to feel that comfortable that lines even think about getting blurred. I think that that's just
Yeah.
crazy. And you should cut those people out of your life. They're not good energy for you or your marriage. Period.
If you're cool with somebody to the point where, like, if you were to walk out of the room for 30 minutes, I could hold a conversation with Tyler.
Yeah,
It's not
like you guys
it's
could
not like that.
chill, alone. I was dating somebody who once hated one of my closest friends to the point where he would pretend to be sleeping when this girl would come over. Pretend. Just leave, if anything. No, this man would just take up the full ass couch and just pretend to sleep because he didn't want to interact with her.
At least go in the bedroom.
I would rather have a nice little interaction between the two of you so that it's not so awkward. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah. That's funny. Why
Mm.
don't you just go to the bedroom? He wants to be asleep. If you're gonna be weird, don't take up the whole couch. That's where we're chilling.
I know, and then we feel like we have to be quiet around you when we're drinking margaritas on a Tuesday. Like, get out of here.
Goodbye. Well,
No.
Chick Chatters, I'm glad that we got this update for you, but I mean that's pretty much all I got. If you are watching this poster, we were curious, but we were just troubleshooting all of the options because there's always options. But I'm really glad that your husband has just been truthful with you. It's kind of like a rarity in these Reddit situations to see a really
Yeah.
good outcome, and this is a good outcome because if you think about it, if this didn't happen, you'd still be friends with this girl and she'd still be doing these weird little things. Then your second
Mhm.
kid's going to be calling her mama. Let's just not. Like, you escaped. You don't really
So
need
true.
therapy to me, but if you want it, that's fine. Sure. I mean, there's always things we can all work on as people, but you escaped. And 10 years is not 30 years, and your kids aren't really going to remember. You probably have other long lasting friendships. If you got one friendship for 10 years, I'm sure you got another few that are 6 or 7 or 5. I'm sure you
I
can
think
make some
that's true.
friends. And
Yep.
don't judge your friends because trust me, there is no group chat called Let's F Your Husband.
No, those are just bad. What did Rod from Gypsy's dad call it? Bad seeds that grow bad grass.
I hope she saw that comment of the guy that had the similar situation because I feel like there is a lot to connect with and
Yeah,
at
maybe they
least
can all be
relate
friends.
to. Yeah, you can relate to that at least. I don't know, but it's at least somebody else who's been through it. But it's the place where you find somebody else who's been through it. So,
Right. It's like the old fashioned MySpace.
well, thank you for joining us, Chick Chat.
Yes, thanks for the update. Bye bye.
and help us reach our 500
Oh,
subscriber
yeah.
goal.
Yes, do that. Just the 500.
Just the 500. We just need 500. All right. Well, reduce, reuse, recycle. Rihanna, goodbye.
Bye.